The Daytona 500 was supposed to be the biggest race of the season, but instead, it turned into a disaster. Wrecks, controversial calls, and frustrated drivers have left NASCAR under fire. Fans are calling it one of the most chaotic season openers in recent history. But what happened on that track, and why are drivers now speaking out? Right from the start, things weren't looking good. The Daytona 500 was filled with massive crashes that took out top contenders. Some of the sport's biggest names never even had a chance to compete for the win. And while wrecks are nothing new in NASCAR, it was the way officials handled the race that's raising eyebrows. Many believe bad calls and inconsistent officiating played a major role in the outcome. Drivers, analysts, and fans are now questioning whether NASCAR is being fair, or if certain decisions are ruining the integrity of the sport. Some are even accusing officials of favoring certain teams. Was the race truly won by skill, or was it decided by questionable officiating? And this is just the beginning. As more drivers speak out, the controversy is only growing. But the biggest bombshell? Some believe there's more going on behind the scenes than anyone realizes. So, is NASCAR losing control of its sport? And are these accusations just frustration, or is there truth to them? If the controversy over NASCAR's officiating wasn't enough, Joey Logano's late race movie only made things worse. With just 15 laps to go, Logano was right behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr., looking for an opening to take the lead. But Stenhouse wasn't backing down. He threw a block, trying to hold his position. Instead of backing off, Logano stayed aggressive, too aggressive. He kept pushing forward, and that's when everything went wrong. His move triggered a massive wreck, sending cars spinning in every direction. Some of the biggest names in the sport, including Kyle Busch, were suddenly out of the race. And just like that, a race that was already filled with controversy became even more heated. Fans and analysts were quick to call Logano out. Many believe his aggressive racing style has been a problem for years, and this was just another example. He's known for making risky moves, sometimes paying off, but other times causing chaos. Critics argue that if Logano had shown a little more patience, the wreck could have been avoided. But Logano defended himself, saying that's just how superspeedway racing works. He argued that blocking is part of the game, and if he had lifted, he would have lost his shot at winning. So, was Logano's move reckless or just hard racing? And should NASCAR step in to control these aggressive driving styles? One thing is certain. This wreck added even more fuel to the fire, and fans aren't letting it go anytime soon. Just when it seemed like the chaos had peaked, Cole Custer's final lap wreck sent the Daytona 500 into complete mayhem. With victory in sight, Custer was pushing hard to get to the front. But instead of crossing the finish line as the winner, he triggered a crash that changed everything. As the pack raced toward the checkered flag, Custer made a sudden move, squeezing the field and causing multiple cars to wreck. That split-second decision took several contenders out and handed the win to William Byron. The moment was controversial, and tempers flared almost immediately. Denny Hamlin didn't hold back, putting the blame squarely on Custer. He accused him of steering left, forcing drivers into a no-win situation. Hamlin, a three-time Daytona 500 champion, made it clear he believed Custer's aggressive move ruined the race for several drivers. But Custer had his defense. He argued that in the Daytona 500, everyone is pushing to the limit on the final lap. He claimed that aggressive moves are just part of superspeedway racing, and anyone in his position would have done the same. The NASCAR Daytona 500 drew plenty of controversy, especially over Custer's push. Some view the incident as a reckless move, while others say reckless driving is just another day at the races. Either way, it was just another dramatic moment in a Daytona 500 filled with so much drama already. Blocking was simply not the right thing to do. On the other hand, many were saying, what else could he have done? There were a lot of wrecks and finger-pointing, and one conclusion you can draw: these issues are not going to go away anytime soon. Too many wrecks, too much chaos, and controversial finishes led some of NASCAR's elite stars to question the way forward for the sport. Hamlin, one of the strongest and most vocal personalities in the garage, gave full vent to his frustrations. In his view, winning in NASCAR has turned into a lottery game rather than a skill game, particularly at superspeedway tracks. He went on to say that even if you do everything right on your end, the next guy makes one mistake, and there goes the entire field. Hamlin's concerns run deeper than grievance. As a driver and a team owner, he has first-hand experience of how teams spend fortunes going through endless processes of refining cars, but then a race turns into utter mayhem, where winners are determined more by survival than skill. Are we sure this is the right thing for the sport? Especially with our fans becoming weary, as well as drivers? Some fans agreed, arguing that constant crashes make the races seem much like demolition derbies, instead of being a competitive sport. Others, however, contend that this unpredictability is what makes NASCAR entertaining. Depending on whose point of view someone sided with, it reflects Hamlin's statement and what is becoming a louder voice of discontent among drivers. If NASCAR continues along this path, will it ever push any competition away? Or is this simply the evolution of the sport? Then comes more than the wrecks and driver displeasures, and the inconsistency within NASCAR's officiating has set aflame the fire of even greater controversy. Fans and analysts were left quite puzzled at NASCAR's decision on what to do or not about caution flags at Daytona. There were a lot of discussions at the end of the race. The thing is that William Byron was the one who took the checkered flag under green, but for some time, many were wondering why NASCAR did not throw a yellow flag when chaos erupted behind him. Cars were crashing in the last moments, yet officials allowed the race to finish. That would have potentially stirred less up for discussion had it not been for what happened earlier in the week. NASCAR made an opposite call with the caution thrown just ahead of the finish in the Daytona duels, which turned everything upside down. Whoever was in the position to win suddenly found themselves at a loss thanks to the control tower's decision. The analyst Jeff Gluck was one of those firing back at NASCAR for inconsistency. He asserted that the two situations were similar, yet NASCAR handled them in totally different ways. If safety truly mattered, why stop one race and not the other? If it was for excitement, then why not be consistent in all the races? Drivers and teams are just frustrated with a lack of clear standards for officiating. It is not just about fairness, it is about knowing what to expect. If NASCAR continues with last-minute decisions dependent on the moment, it will only heighten drivers, teams, and fans' anger. The Daytona 500 won't just be controversies for crash cases. It has also got a lot to talk about in terms of handling things. Were the calls fair? Did NASCAR make the right calls or let chaos come and lead? Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch, drivers, feel that NASCAR has lost all control. Amongst the three, Logano wrecked aggressively, Custer crashed on the last lap, and another element, unpredictable superspeedway racing. Many hold the view that luck determines the winner and not talent. Now the fans want to know, did NASCAR have another shot to get a hold of this race? Certainly, a big discussion point is how NASCAR applies its own rules. Some would call it penalty-worthy, minor infractions that some drivers get punished for, while others make extreme moves, causing enormous pileups while claiming, "I should be penalized for that." Logano's driving style has stirred controversy for many years. All the while, he pushes the line and seemingly gets away with it. On the other side, Cole Custer was slammed for the last lap wreck. The question remains, did Custer deserve the blame? Or was it simply an unfortunate outcome from the Daytona racing? Then there's the bigger question, where does NASCAR go from here? If the sport continues to rely on unpredictable wrecks and last-second finishes, will it drive away veteran drivers? Hamlin's frustration as both a driver and team owner speaks volumes. He's not alone in thinking NASCAR needs a change before things spiral further out of control. But now, we want to hear from you. Do you think NASCAR's officiating was fair during the Daytona 500? Are drivers justified in their anger, or is this just how racing works? Should NASCAR step in and change how superspeedway races are handled? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more NASCAR updates, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest racing news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.